Attention passionate Green Bay Packers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Green Bay Packers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Green Bay Packers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Green Bay Packers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Packers over the past few weeks, you know that things haven't exactly gone according to plan. After a promising start to the season, the Green Bay Packers are now facing some tough truths. You see, they're coming off a couple of games that have left fans a bit frustrated, a bit concerned about what's next. It's no secret that the NFC North is fiercely competitive, and with recent developments, the division might be seeing a shift in power. But let's break down exactly what's happening, what it means for the Packers, and what we can expect moving forward. First, let's talk about the recent games. Green Bay was favored in both matchups, which in itself is a big deal because it shows the confidence the betting markets have in this team. They were favorites over the Cleveland Browns and Dallas Cowboys, two teams that have been trending in different directions. But what happened? Well, the Packers didn't quite manage to capitalize on that favoritism. In the game against Cleveland, they suffered a heartbreaking loss due to a last-second field goal. It was a game that could have gone either way, but ultimately, Cleveland's clutch kicker made the difference. That kind of close loss can take a toll on a team's confidence, especially when you're so close to a win that could have boosted morale and momentum. Then, just a week later, the Packers found themselves in a tense overtime battle against the Cowboys. Remember, Dallas was missing star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, yet the game was still fiercely contested. It went down to the wire, with the Packers barely managing to secure an overtime draw, thanks to a late field goal as time expired. And that's where the real issues started to come into focus. The defense, which has been a key part of Green Bay's identity over the years, looked noticeably vulnerable, especially in that Sunday night showdown. Giving up 40 points to Dak Prescott's offense is no small feat, and it's especially alarming considering the injuries and the overall defensive struggles that have been apparent throughout the season. Let's zero in on what's been hurting the Packers' defense recently, and it's largely centered around Devon Wyatt, the team's interior defensive tackle. Wyatt has been a crucial piece in their defensive line, providing both run-stopping ability and interior pass rush. But as we saw in the game against Dallas, his injury played a significant role in the defense's decline. Micah Parsons, one of the most electrifying pass rushers in the league, singled out Wyatt's injury when asked about why the defense faltered. Parsons, a four-time Pro Bowler and a player who's always in the mix, pointed out that Wyatt is a dominant player and that he's underlooked in his value on this team. That's high praise coming from a guy like Parsons, and it underscores how important Wyatt is to the Packers' defensive scheme. But here's the thing. When Matt Schneidman covered this story, he quoted Parsons directly, emphasizing how much Wyatt's absence impacts the team. And that's not just talk, it's a reflection of what fans and analysts have been seeing on the field. Wyatt's injury, a knee issue that can be tricky to recover from, has left the Packers scrambling to fill that interior gap. And as of now, the outlook isn't overly optimistic. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, when asked about Wyatt's injury and his return, was clear: week to week. That's a polite way of saying they're not rushing him back, and that means Wyatt might miss the upcoming game against the Cincinnati Bengals after the bye week. The Bengals, in turn, are not exactly at their best right now. Their offensive struggles have been well documented. Both their run game and passing game have been inconsistent. So, some might think that the Packers could afford to hold Wyatt out for an extra week, especially with the importance of keeping him healthy for the stretch run of the season. But it's a delicate balancing act. You want your best players on the field, especially in critical games, but you also can't afford to risk aggravating an injury that could sideline Wyatt for even longer. Now, another player on the verge of returning is Christian Watson, the explosive wide receiver who suffered a torn ACL back in January. That injury initially was expected to keep him out for a significant chunk of the season, and for good reason. ACL tears are among the most serious injuries for a football player. But the optimism around Watson's recovery has been growing. LaFleur mentioned that the team could open up Watson's 21-day practice window and potentially bring him back after the bye week. That would be a huge boost for the Packers' passing attack, which has been somewhat inconsistent without him. Watson's ability to stretch the field and make deep catches could open up so many opportunities for Jordan Love, the Packers' young quarterback. His speed and playmaking ability add a dynamic element that defenses have had to account for when he's on the field. But it's not just about his individual talent. It's about how his return could influence the entire offensive scheme. Green Bay has been trying to find consistency in their passing game, and Watson's potential return could be the spark they need for a more potent aerial attack. However, with Wyatt's injury, the Packers are walking a cautious line. Both players' recoveries are vital, but they represent different levels of risk. Wyatt's knee injury, especially in the interior defensive line, can be particularly tricky because it affects both his explosiveness and his ability to hold his ground in the trenches. Rushing him back could jeopardize his long-term health, which is why the coaching staff is being extremely careful. On the other hand, Watson's ACL tear, while serious, has seen players return and perform at a high level if the rehab goes well. Looking ahead, the Packers face the Bengals after the bye week, and it's an interesting matchup. The Bengals' offense has been struggling this season, with both their running and passing game not quite clicking. That could be a golden opportunity for Green Bay's defense to tighten up, especially if Wyatt is not yet ready to go. The defense needs to regain its confidence, and a game against a less-than-dominant Bengals offense might be just what they need to get back on track. But let's not forget, defense is about more than just one player. It's about the entire unit working together, communicating and executing. The Packers have shown flashes of that this season, but consistency has been elusive. If Wyatt can return soon, it would give that unit a much-needed boost. His ability to disrupt the pocket and stuff the run is crucial, especially against teams like the Bengals, who have a talented but inconsistent offense. Meanwhile, the offense, led by Jordan Love, has been a mixed bag. Love has shown promise and flashes of brilliance, but he's also made some mistakes that have cost the Packers dearly. The addition of Watson could help stabilize that passing game, giving Love a reliable target downfield. And if the offensive line can keep him protected, he might be able to unlock some of the explosiveness that fans saw in glimpses earlier in the season. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the NFC North is shaping up to be a real dogfight. The Detroit Lions have been impressive, and the Minnesota Vikings are always lurking, waiting to pounce. But the Packers, despite their recent setbacks, still have a shot at making a push. Their schedule after the bye week isn't the toughest, and with key players potentially returning, they could be poised for a strong finish. The key will be health. Getting Wyatt and Watson back at full strength could be the difference between a playoff berth and an early offseason. So, what does all this mean for the Packers and their division rivals? Well, if Wyatt can come back healthy and contribute, it might shore up a defense that's been leaky at times. That, combined with Watson's potential return, could make Green Bay's offense much more dynamic, giving Jordan Love more weapons and confidence. On the flip side, if injuries linger or players aren't able to get back in time, the Packers could find themselves in a tough spot, fighting to stay afloat in a very competitive NFC playoff race. And it's not just about individual players. Coaching strategies, game plans, and how well the team adapts to adversity will play huge roles. Matt LaFleur has been known for his innovative offensive schemes and his ability to develop quarterbacks, but this season will test his coaching acumen even more. The coaching staff has to manage these injuries carefully, keep player morale high, and prepare the team mentally for what's ahead. In the end, what fans crave is hope. Hope that Wyatt's injury won't sideline him for too long, that Watson's return will ignite the offense, and that the Packers can turn this challenging stretch into a springboard for success. Because if they do, and if their key players come back healthy, they could be a force to reckon with in the NFC. The division may be shifting, but the Packers have the talent, the resilience, and the heart to respond. And remember, this isn't just about now, this is about the future, about building a team that can contend for championships year after year. The coaching staff, the players, and the fans all share this dream. So stay tuned, keep supporting your Packers because the best is yet to come. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Green Bay Packers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Geo ahead, IT's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Green Bay Packers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all this? Do you believe Wyatt will be back soon enough to make an impact? Are you optimistic about Watson's return and how it could change the offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Green Bay Packers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Green Bay Packers news. This season is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing in recent years, and your passion keeps this community alive and thriving. Thanks for sticking with us, and as always, go Pack Go!